Okay. Good morning. My name is Samantha Mirabal. I'm with Mocha's application team. We're doing our DesignShop Talk. See what questions you might have, try to get them answered. I'd only had a few sent in ahead of time, so if you have questions while we're live, type them in on the chat and I will see what we can get covered. Let me make sure both channels are up. There is YouTube. Hi, Scott. And there is Facebook. So hopefully everything is working all right. Excellent. Okay. So as I was saying, I only had a few questions sent in ahead of time. So I'll start with those. If you have questions while we're live, just type them in. Don't send them privately. I don't see those. So type them in on both Facebook or YouTube, just right in the chat, and they'll pop up on my other screen over here, and I'll be able to keep look and see what trouble we can get into. All right. So I just upgraded to DesignShop V12. I also installed Inkscape so I could convert non-vector graphics to SVG. When I opened one of these, it comes up as a blank page. So SVGs, when you open an image, so let's say you open a raster graphic, unless you convert it into vectors, so by drawing the shapes, if you just open it and say save as SVG, it's not going to save anything that's openable. It's just going to embed the picture in the file, and then when you go to open the SVG in DesignShop, there's no vectors in there, so it's going to open up as a blank. So it's got to be converted. It's got to be traced somehow, right? Design it in your Illustrator, Inkscape, Corel, whatever it is. You've got to convert it by drawing the different shapes over so that it's now a vector, and then it's got something to save out. So that would be my only guess is, opening it and saving as SVG, doing a file save as doesn't actually convert it. Opening an SVG file is, file, open. Let's go find one. Where do I have them? I might have to go make one. Designs. There. Hopefully there's one in here. Oh, graphics. There was a graphics folder. Let's see. What's in here? There's an EPS. EPS is a vector as well. I got EPSs. All right, so let me go open one of those and do a save as. See, designs, graphics, coffee cup. Where are you? Coffee. A, B, C. There we go. Copy as path. File, open, paste, go. All right, so file, save as on my computer somewhere. That will do. Let's see, SVG. Okay. All right, so, I didn't actually look at where I put that. File, open. Hopefully it saved it here so I can just click it. There's my SVG. And there it is. So, like I said, it's just got to be a vector format that you save off as an SVG, and then you can open the SVG up. So it's pretty much that simple. File, open, click on the SVG that you want to open and say open. I will say I tend to do a whole lot of this from my graphics program, whatever it might be, selecting my vectors, doing Control C, coming over to let me close all these. No, new file, paste, Control V. So, apparently it didn't, there we go. So I tend to do a whole lot of that. So I don't tend to open them. I just have my vector program open on one side, my DesignShop on the other, and I'll just copy and paste it directly in. So that's what I personally do. I don't open them, but it's file open and then navigate to it. There you go. All right, so what else do we have? You got fast clamps. Awesome. They're great. Tips or advice on using them. Main tip I can give you is get in the habit from day one of always closing the jaws, the little chompers. So when you go to take a job, you're finished sewing something, you open them up, you take the item off. Before you move, close the clamps. before you move. Don't go walk around and play with it and then go do something else and come back to the machine. That right there is the number one thing I can say. Just get into the habit from the beginning of always close the clamps. That way you don't get into the situation where you forget they're open and you go move something around, and next thing you know, you just knock the head off the machine, and that's a sad day. Okay, so that's just the best advice. I told people that with the other clamp system. Oh, good grief! This slimline clamp system that everyone used to use before the fast clamps. It's the same thing. Always close it before you walk away. Period. Just don't do anything unless it's closed. So that's the number one tip I can give you. They've got little grooves on it, so when you're hooping, you can close one side, pull it to the over. Like if you're doing some webbing, you can line up the little tick marks on the side of the little jaws, pull over. That way you can make sure things are straight without having to do a whole lot of work. So that's another fun little thing. But yeah, just the best thing I could say is always close the clamps. Just close them. Open, pull the item out, close. Open, pull the item out, close. I personally don't take my hand off of it until it's back to close because I'm flighty and I'll open it, and if I take my hand off of it, it'll stay open. So, all right. When I tried saving a design in SVG format and tried to use it in another program, it's only about a quarter size of the design I saved. Did I do something wrong? So the other programs, sometimes depending on how they're set up, they may have scale factors on imports and opens and things like that. So I could not tell you for sure without looking at specific program that you're working with and digging through settings on that. I personally just know what size it's supposed to be, select it all and scale it up to the right size and call it done and move along. That's what I do personally. But I use Illustrator and don't tend to see that, probably because of settings that someone else fixed for me a long time ago, because I'm not that talented with it. What was addressed or added or fixed in the latest update? I don't have a list of what was updated. It was from I'm trying to think. There were some random bugs and things. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I'm trying to think of any that I do know about, but all of those were fixed before the formal release. So I know there was an issue with the expanded lettering not being available in some of the lower, or not expanded editing, the new save letter as. Oh, Scott just reminded me. That's a good idea. There you go. In the manual, right there, what's new. So in the version, it'll give you a table of things that were fixed. So, okay. I forgot about that. I should know this. I'm sorry. So yeah, check it out in the manual and that'll show you. Thank you, Scott. All right, can you show how to separate the placement stitch and then the tack down stitch and then the finish or satin stitch for an applique? Yeah, no problem. Having trouble when I send it to machine, not sure where to put applique stop. Do you make each step a different color? Yes, that's how you do it. So setting up files for applique, the way you program the stop in the OS is you hit the word applique, and that will then, when it gets to the next, when it finishes one color and it's trying to go to the next color, it sees applique and it goes, okay, I'm going to stop and pull the pantograph out. Okay. So, but the only way you can make it get to the word applique is by having a new color. All right. So let's see, let's make a file. How do we want to do it? I'm going to draw a circle as an applique. How about that? Here we go. So I have an applique. I'm going to come out into the main settings and say enable color change after tack down. So now it's got a bunch of colors on there, and you'll see there's now 3 color changes on there. So when I send it to the machine, I'm going to set up my colors like this. Color 1, applique. Color 2, I'm going to put the word applique there, and then color 3, so that it will have a stop for each thing that it does. Okay. Now on that particular one, it's got a placement stitch or a tack down stitch, the zigzag, which is after it secures to secure the edges, and then it's got the satin stitch. If I want an additional placement stitch, right, what I would need to do is take this guy, go operations, convert to wireframe, and then I can take that first stitch, copy and paste, and again, give it another color. So now I've got my placement, tack down of the fabric, the zigzag stitch, and then my satin stitch over top. Okay, so now it's 4 colors, so I can have, you know, color 1 applique, color 2 applique, color 3 applique, color 4 if you want. I don't think there's a need for applique between 3 and 4, but you know, some people like it. Okay, so it's pretty much, that is all you have to do for applique, is make sure you've got, if this is all one color, right? So while this is set up as an applique file, if it's all one color, the machine's just going to keep sewing, right? So it's going to do 2 circles, a zigzag, and a satin stitch, and it's going to say, look, I made you a circle, which is cool, but that's not what you wanted, right? You want it to be able to put fabric down. So you do that by making each step a different color so that you are able to program in those applique stops. Okay, so does that help? And oops, where's my, there we go. Yeah, so that's how you do it. Yeah, so no, you don't need to call. That's literally how you do it. Hopefully that helps. Any other questions? Because that was actually all the questions that were sent in ahead of time. What else do we have that you guys might want to talk about? Like I said, I didn't get a whole lot typed in online ahead of time, but yeah, what else can we go over today? I originally was going to do this tomorrow, but there's somebody needs help desperately with one of their machines, so I'm going to drive up there and fix it. And then Saturday we have a regatta. The total eclipse is next week, so I'm going to go check that out on Monday. Anyway, all sorts of fun stuff. A crazy month this month. Most of this month, the talks will be on Thursday. I coach crew, and all of states are this month. So they have sculling states and sweepstakes, and yeah. Oh goodness, Rob's asking what regatta. So my daughter, it's East in Florida, East District regatta. So it's the district for the schools. They're holding their districts essentially, and then states is next weekend for Florida states for sculling, and then Florida states for sweeps is in 2 weekends. So I've got to take all the boats over to states on Fridays. So Thursdays are the talks. Good morning, Lorena. Thanks for joining. We finished up really early today, so really I'm just running my mouth to see if anyone else has questions to type in before I go call it a day. If not, I guess I will call that a day. I'll just show you this real quick, just in case anyone's trying to type and doesn't want me to bounce off. I've had some people ask, hey, how do I find what was covered in the talks? I don't want to watch, 190 videos to find one thing. So if you go to melco-service.com, click on the FAQ, and then type DesignShop Talk, search for that. Right here is a whole bunch of, it's just a list of topics that were covered. So you can do Control F, type in whatever you're looking for, and kind of scroll through, and you'll see what days those were covered. And it even has links to the YouTube or the Facebook, things like that. All of these are links to articles that might be useful. Okay. All right, what else? No, my regattas, Rob, are all crew, so rowing. I'm a rower. I'm racing in one in May, So anyway, let's see. I'm having trouble controlling the fill on stitch on shapes for hats. How so? Because so hats are interesting, right? Because they're really only hooped along the bottom, and then how do I get the fill with a hole to it to embroider from the bottom up, or in the 3-inch wide rectangle to fill from the middle out? Okay, so let's go new. Let's draw a fill rectangle. All right, making this sew from the middle out is as simple as moving your starts and stops. So if I tell it to start right here and end, you pick a spot. I'm just gonna say start at the top, and now when you tell it to redraw, now it starts from the middle and it sews it. So it's literally started sewing here. And you'll notice when it goes to start sewing, it's going to be going from the bottom up on the fill. All right, so it's this stitch angle is that way. Alex, you're cracking me up. So that was with the rectangle. Let's see, what was your other question, Cash? How do I fill of a rectangle with a hole to it? Or something with a hole in it? Okay, so let's add a hole. All right, so I have a hole, and it's still the same thing. I'm going to get rid of that stitch angle and that stitch angle. There we go. So what makes it sew from one direction to another is going to be where your starts and stops are located. So if you tell it to start, down here and end up here, that will force it to run bottom to top, middle out. Another technique you can always do is, let's say I can draw, I can do something like this. And I just thought about this, and I should do it a different way. I should go up and out, not around. So I'm going to delete that. Let's do it again. So what is this, the whole point of this? If I want to do my own little underlay, just to start the stitching and make sure that the edges are how I want and it's going middle out, I could do something like this. And now when I do sew that first, and now when I do the fill, I can tell it to start at the bottom and sew up. So I've already got the fabric tied to the stabilizer, and now it will sew. So when I hit redraw, you'll see it does. Okay, I told it to redraw that. There you go. Again, it's starting from here and it's sewing up. Can you control where the top stitch starts and finishes? You can, but you've got to do the underlay separate then. So it's going to auto create all of this to optimize its sew out, right? So if you want to say, no matter what, the fill, start here, stop here, you're going to have to break this into multiple steps. Because of the hole here, it's going to have to fill one side over the other first. So if you really want to sew this, and then this, and then this, you'll have to break it into multiple elements. All right. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, the underlay, the top stitch, it's all going to be start and stop. Oh, that doesn't help that I have my start and stop at the same spot. There we go. So I told it to end up here, start down here. So it will end closest to that where that X was. So if I kind of fast forward through here, no. So it's got to fill this side first, and now it's going to fill up. When it gets there, it'll keep driving up. When it gets here, it'll start filling all the way, and the very last stitch is going to be right here in that region. Yep, right there. Okay, so it's fills when you put holes in it. There's at some point it's got to stop sewing one thing and finish up and come back around and sew up. So it's, if you want to have every little aspect of control of, let's say it sews this part, then here, and then it comes back around, sews this, and then this top little rectangle, you'd have to break it up. Okay, let me scroll back up. Sherry, are there special settings for silk robes? Not really. I mean, silk robe, it's more, I would digitize like you would for performance wear. So we have some articles that talk about that. Silk is a lightweight material, so you don't want super heavy designs in it. You don't want to use really heavy stabilizers, things like that. So I would, do the same thing you would do for performance wear, I would do for silk personally. Cash, did that help at all? If not, I can go over it some more. Alex, I'm glad we try to help. You have questions. How do you send them? So when we're live, you can type them in directly in the comments. Ahead of time on 3 of the Facebook groups, I tend to post every week a picture that looks like this guy with a thing that says, hey, what questions do you have? So if you have questions ahead of time, you can type them in on that while we're live. It's helpful if you type them in on that, particularly if I have to make examples. It's a lot better if I make examples ahead of time than you guys watching me do stuff, type a whole or create stuff on the fly, because then you get ugly looking houses and ugly bunnies and things like that rather than something that actually looks correct. Because I end up trying to work too fast when I'm on here. But yeah, if you have questions while we're live, always feel free to type them in on the chats. But yeah, and there's 3 groups that I post them in. It's, let's see, what are they? I'm going to go find them for you. So, groups. Yeah, so it's going to be this group here. So I post in For the Love of Melco Embroidery Machines. So in that one, as well as this group, which is Melco Embroidery Machines for Businesses. So that one. And then the other one was, it's an XT group. Where is it? There it is. It's not really an XT group, but that's how I recognize it. So that one. This is an international group, so there's a lot of people overseas in there as well. Can you make sure to add the day of the week to the request for questions? Yeah, I got to get some. I'll have to ask Melco Marketing to make me those pictures again, because this is the picture they gave me. So I will ask them for updated pictures. So one that says Thursday and one that says Friday. But this month, it's almost always going to be Thursday, just because of all these regattas. They're kind of psychotic. Okay, Cash, I'm glad that helped. All right, what other questions might you guys have? Let me scroll up and make sure I didn't miss any. Okay. Excellent. All right, looks like I caught all the questions. And hey, that got us 10 minutes of questions after my random talking. So excellent. Let us know what you want to learn about. When you have questions, we want to help. So, oh, there was, actually it wasn't asked here, but someone was asking about their toolbar. Oh, all right. Sorry, I saw another question. Someone was asking that their toolbar was messed up and not working right. I don't remember where I saw that one. A few things. Up here, something to try is if you right click, you can say reset layout. And yeah, all the changes will be lost. Okay, whatever. It will then put the layout back to normal. So that's one. Another would be to give tech support a call and let them go through and clear out your registry. There might be some little bug in there. Alex is asking on YouTube, when I sign out using the cloud, can I open it on another PC without losing my settings? Yes, you can open it on another PC. The settings are PC specific though. So let's say you created your own decoratives or things like that. You're going to have to put them on any computer that you install it on. Excuse me. I created this personally, so I've got a folder that I call DS Library, and when I create stuff for me, I put on this computer, because I run DesignShop on 1, 2, 3, 4 computers, 5 computers. I save all my settings here so that when I go from computer to computer, I can go copy these all over where they belong. And then now all the PCs behave the same. So yeah, settings are PC specific, not cloud specific. Okay, any other questions? How do you save the settings? You got to know where they are. It really depends on what settings you're trying to save. So for instance, I make my own color charts, right? So the color charts, if you go into where the software is installed, which I have no idea which for this one. So under color data, that's all the color charts. If you've got, not there, fabric styles, if you save your own fabric styles, like for Burmalana or for Firefighter, those are the ones that I put in there. So this is what, in this folder is where they go. If you have your own decoratives, they save here. So this is where you would paste them. So you kind of got to know what file you're looking for. But yeah. What settings, do you have any specific? But those are the main ones I use. It's going to be the color data for my color charts, styles for my knots and things. Under top stitching, if you create your own fill patterns, they would be there. But this, under fabrics, that's where most of mine go. All right, any other questions? Ugly hole, delete it. There we go. No? Okay. All right, I guess I will call it a day for now. We'll be back next Thursday. So if you've got questions, probably on, Tuesday, I'll be posting looking for questions. So let us know what comes up. Keep a notebook handy or type them in somewhere so you can copy and paste them when the questions come up. Oh, Madeira changed their red color code. It's not in the Melco file. Can we add the new code to the software? Code 1037? What do you mean code 1037? Is that a thread color number? You'd need to know the RGB. Yes, you can add colors. In fact, I do it all the time. So, under color data, okay, you would need to know the RGB of that specific color, okay? So, and then you would go into one of these things or whatever type of thread it is. So that's polyneon 1037. So I assume that's going to be a rayon. So open with Notepad and Control F, 1037. 1037 is already there. So yeah, 1037 is already in the rayon thread. So you might just be in the wrong color chart. So how do you find that one? Here I go right click, properties, colors, come over here, change this over to rayon, and then 1037, there you go, it's there. So you've got to be in the right color chart to be able to use it. If you're in the polyneon chart, it's not going to show up because it's not a polyneon color. It's a rayon. Okay. So it's already there. So ignore what I just showed you. All right. Okay. Alex, anything else before I call it a day? All my machines quit running. I set up long jobs. I guess I've been talking long enough that they're all done. Okay, well, I will talk to you guys next week. You guys have a fantastic weekend and hope everything's going well. I will talk to you then. Yep, I will talk to you next week. Have a great weekend, and until then, have fun sewing. Mm-hmm.